it's no easy task consistently being expected to win 100% of the time. So I definitely like the position of being like, no one expects you to win, because then no one really thinks anything of it, even if you lose. But if you win, everyone's like, oh, now we've got something to look at.
Right. I mean, it's fun to theorize for days on end, and I will ask you the same question we kind of talked to each other about. The scariest player to get going in this series, let alone maybe this tournament, I have to feel like if Scrubkilla has a good day, let alone a good run this weekend, this Dignitas team gets very scary, because we know what we're going to get out of Joreuz, we know what we're going to get out of apparently Jack. Scrubkilla is still kind of that X factor and how he could change the tide of a series. Absolutely.
There was a point in time where Scrub probably could maybe still make a case for being one of the best players in the world, no questions asked. And certainly he's taken a bit of a step down from recent years, but still a formidable opponent. And I think you're right. If he's playing well, Dignitas is in good shape.
Maybe looking for those midfield challenges and a lot of isolated plays for Dignitas, but the infield passing has been phenomenal as of late, and so has the redirect game from apparently Jack to kick this one off.
Nice play from Dignitas in general. Scrub just trying to make sure that he can beat Gladiators to the ball, and Appjack, that's a beautiful lift out and towards the middle. Didn't really care if it went in, probably was going to have somebody out there. Thankfully gets it in between the goalposts. Dignitas opening it up nicely. A lot of good speed to the ball.
It's those small extra touches if you're gaming Gladiators you can't afford to give away for free. You're going to have to at least put a hand up and contest some of those challenges early on, as Joreuz will find his way downfield and a potential chance for an open net. It's very easy for Scrubkilla to make it 2-0.
Number 2 for Dignitas in short order as well, and they're all over the Gladiators defense. Everybody expecting Joreuz to go for a touch there, try and push it around the corner. He just lets it bounce off the wall, and everyone on Gladiators behind the initial challenge thinking, wait, I can't fix that. I wasn't ready for that.
It is over my head and I have no boost. You do the math, it's not going to look good, but if anything, you're happy those first 2 goals happened in the first minute 30 or so. Plenty of time to get back into this one, but for Dig, a very strong start and a very clean one as well. We talk about it all the time, but for a lot of these teams, it's about playing your cleanest and most mistake-free Rocket League. That's your best chance of making a long run.
We'll see if Gladiators find a way back into game 1. 2-0 down early, never an enviable position, but that is a lot of time. And what you're really looking for is possession. You'd like to stop seeing Dignitas take control of the ball in the midfield and drive it all the way up the pitch. And unfortunately, I think with how much mechanical ability that Dignitas has back on that other side, they're going to send one deep back, and they know that whoever's deep back, even if Gladiators take this long, booming, clear approach and try and play dump and chase, they know that the third person back is going to have the mechanics to trap the ball, take it back on an air dribble. So you can't really rely on the big clear game for Gladiators to get them space to operate.
Well, both teams trying to vie for a spot back in midfield, but you're at least seeing Scrubkilla get those back corner boosts, more resources here for Dignitas, and potential chances for a follow-up attempt to continue that offense. On the opposite side, Gladiators struggling with the midfield pressure. So far, that line completely cut down as Dignitas are looking for more and more chances for an open shot. And now a chance. Counterattack begins. Off the back wall, Scrubkilla will take it away again. A challenge, but quickly denied. And Scrub, plenty of boost to get it down to midfield.
Possession, possession, possession. Try as they might. Gladiators struggling to hold on to the ball. It's a nice win. And that's exactly the control. Joreuz, the timing up the ramp there against the wall, and the demo as well to open up space in the midfield for apparently Jack to keep possession. It is hard for Gladiators to find a way through at the moment.
And he's not only keeping it, but just maneuvering out of one defender's way after another, still filling into the lane. A spot-up shooter in Joreuz who can use his mechanics to create space towards the backboard is dangerous enough, but not a lot of midfield pressure as of now. Possession time's been all of theirs for Dignitas. Still a lot of time in their own back line. How's the counterattack begin to swing? You're going to lead it up to apparently Jack to lead the charge. Scrubkilla and Joreuz working in tandem on opposite sides of the field, and Joreuz will now take his chance and possession with it, burning a bit of boost to keep this one alive. And around the bend we go through the corner. Dignitas pressing for that 3rd goal.
They're very content to let that ball just bounce around in the sidewall. They know they don't have to score anything. It's really just clock management here from Dignitas. No need to press and just try and hang on to the ball as much as you can. But if you lose it, you lose it. You know you don't really have to stretch here. It's a very, very relaxed and laid back attempt at closing out a game. Nice opportunity for Gladiators there, and quality save from Dignitas to keep the lead comfortably in front.
I'm glad you brought that up because it very much feels like after those following 2 goals, it's been a very relaxed pace from Dig. They haven't been overcommitting themselves to the corners, haven't been trying to establish those infield passes. It's been just about keeping possession when they can, and with that, they will find themselves the 3rd goal with 1:08 to play.
Game is easy when you make some nice challenges. Appjack keeping the ball close, and LCT trying to get an aggressive challenge to try and find a 2-on-1 or a 2-on-2 back onto the opposition side, but straight off the ceiling with the demo there. The only one around is Jorius. And 3 goals with 1:08. I think game 1's chalked.
Simple, easy Rocket League for a lot of our teams starting off today. And for Dignitas, if you're a fan of this roster, you're pretty happy with the results so far in game 1. But could this be a goal? A chance?
Oh,
yes, absolutely.
Really nice job here for Max Yu. Doesn't overthink it. Out towards the ceiling, Appjack. I think he was so focused on Commutator who's coming over, and he just ended up sailing right past the ball, and that's great patience from Max Yu on that shot. Not to try and rush it, to really just take what the defense gives him, sees the open side, goes all the way to the left behind the defender, and get themselves 1 here. Probably not going to amount to much, but you'll take what you can get.
And you got Jorius to bite on the center of the box, which eventually helped out with the opportunity lower right post. Clear lanes to the left, and it worked out for a goal, 3-1. A lot of time still to play through. Could they find themselves a second? If so, it's a brand new game. But in game 1, Dignitas, confident as ever. Clear will be back out from apparently Jack, and he'll continue on.
Oh, that might be in.
And that should be Jack closing the deal, 4-1.
It's about as you'd expect. Unfortunately, Gladiators have to push really hard here, try and find a way to get themselves a little bit of time to maybe have 1 or 2 shots on target. They end up losing the challenge in the midfield. Easily collected by Appjack and Scrub, so well gamed from Dignitas here.
Not a lot of double commits downfield. When one player has possession, let them run point, be a secondary option in the wing. We've seen that time and time again from apparently Jack and Scrubkilla, and Jorius just being a nuisance all throughout this game. It's been a very decent approach. And that's not a negative at all. It's just they've played their game. They weren't pressed too much, and Dignitas kind of walks their way through this game 1.
Yeah, great ball control overall from Dignitas. That's the biggest selling point for me here. It was so difficult for Gladiators to find the way into the challenges and consistently wresting control from them. So I loved the command that Dignitas displayed here in game 1. They have to feel pretty good about that. I mean, they knew they didn't have to press very hard. They got out in front nice and early. Weren't too concerned about conceding the one back the other way to Gladiators, because, I mean, that was just control, and no one could stop them.
I mean, just look at the spread on your scorecard. All orange, Dignitas, complete control, the assists, the saves, the score, the goals, the shots, everything. Almost 50% on the touches, but it even seemed there that the vertical gameplay from Dig, which was very calm and collected throughout, continued to be their success. I mean, for a game 1, for a team that has been out of the LAN environment for so long, that is a great start.
That was essentially, if you ever want to see a team just get absolutely put on ice,
yeah.
That was that game. Even allowing that 1 goal, you're kind of like, I don't know how that one really wound its way into the back of the net, but that was all Dignitas, 100%.
Yeah,
and you're not too surprised by it, because you have to love the ability to laugh that one off, I suppose, here from Gladiators. I certainly wouldn't be very happy about how that game 1 played out. Really didn't get a lot done there, and I would be a little bit worried. So to see them be in such fine spirits, it would seem, is I think that's a good thing as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in these instances, granted, it's only game 1 and a best of 7. It's a long journey ahead, but you are going against Dignitas, and I think you have to keep at least some semblance of the vibes high, right? Because Dig can get ahead of you, they can get in your head very quickly, and knowing that you're dealing with these 3 players in front, it's going to be a tall task for any team in any region. For Gladiators, an impressive squad nonetheless. We've seen them make miracle runs in opposite tournaments before. Now is a chance to figure it out in game 2 and potentially tie this series up.
And really what it's going to come down to, I think, if Gladiators want to win this game, have to find a way to increase that pace, take a page out of Sam's book, and really just send somebody diving at almost everything, because you can't allow Dignitas to just slow the pace of the game down, bring the ball down, earn more possession, and let those mechanics come up on you on offense. So that's what I would like to see from Gladiators, really try and force them to do something.
Almost have to channel your inner Raisable in these instances.
Just go.
Like, listen, this is where the offense is going. Even if Dignitas reads it, we don't care. But now is the time to figure it out in game 2 on Aquadome. A minute burned, and Jorius will find the first goal.
That's the problem there. I'm not really too sure how you can fix this one from Gladiators. It's a little side touch. It's not a bad idea, but when you have 2 people committing for the ball and they just don't make contact on a decent enough challenge, that's just being out of position and overextending yourselves, and Dignitas all too happy to jump on it.
Well, when they both crossed into the midfield, that's a lack of communication. And sometimes that does bite you in the back. Another kind of freebie goal that Dignitas capitalized on. For Gladiators, those are the small mistakes you can't afford to make against a team like Dig.
Dignitas camped out around this corner, just really putting Gladiators through their paces, and no one's going to be able to come up with a touch, and apparently Jack going to collect the second goal.
I mean, this is about as easy as it gets. Big bump through the corner, no one in the center, and a miss leads way to an open net.
Really not too much to be said about that.
It's easy.
Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of waiting to see if they were actually going to turn that ball into the corner, and last man on the goal line for Gladiators kind of scratching his head a little bit that nobody touched the ball as it came in front of net.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Dignitas is right on top of you. And again, very similar situation to game one. They were up 2 at about 4 minutes in game one. Now they're up 2 at 3.5. And Dignitas on cruise control, and maybe 3 if they can get over the top. Not this time.
I mean, I think what should worry you just a little bit about Gladiators in this moment is we're not seeing a deviation away from the way they approached game one. There hasn't been a correction, an audible that could have been called a change and adjustment. It hasn't been there. They've been approaching Dig the same way and giving Dig all the space in the world to work with to set up this offense. Back pass to apparently Jack, and a shot that rolls its way up the middle of the gut, quickly cut down and siphoned off to the corner, but apparently Jack still keeping it alive. Choice gets it around both, and maybe not, never mind, doesn't get it to land.
Close one for Dignitas, and I like the idea there that even when the ball is right in front of the goal, there's no need to rush anything, as that one's going to ping off the back wall. Joris is just trying to capitalize on some more space, and huge job from Gladiators on defense right now to keep this one at a 2-goal game, because those are some nice opportunities for Dig.
Looking at the boost management right now, you have a bit in the tank if you are Gladiators, but it's not enough to really counter what Dig are doing on those transitions down the sideline. Scrubkill is still winning big challenges and keeping the play alive, forcing the next man up to take that possession. Gladiators are struggling to hold on to the ball. Quick little dump pass. It was a quality shot. Extra chance now off the backboard. And even in these moments, you're just killing time if you're Dig. You got 2 minutes to play with, and Gladiators maybe have a possession at a time upfield, but that's about it.
It's kind of interesting. It feels like Dignitas very happy when there's space. They really try and ramp up the speed of the dribble or whatever they're doing, forcing Gladiators to rotate fast back, and then as soon as they get right in front of the net, then they tap the brakes and really force Gladiators to make sure that they're not over-committing to one side or the other of the net. As here they come, that's off the bottom, and Scrubkilla will make it 3 for Dignitas.
This is all set up by Joris playing patiently on the pop and does enough to get it off the backboard. And Scrubkilla comes up for the insurance policy. It's 3-0 Dig. And we look to Gladiators and we say, okay, what's the game plan now? You're down by 3 goals into game 2. You're about to be down 2-0 in the series. And very quickly, this one is getting out of hand. A complete stretch from what Optic Gaming did earlier, where it was a little bit closer, but they still found the win. Dignitas in complete control of the series.
Yeah, this has been a Loctite one for Dignitas. Gladiators not looking bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's really just Dignitas is throwing something new at them every time they come at them, and Gladiators not able to make the adjustment in time, and it's been quite difficult for them to find a way to consistently hold control of the ball. And even here, you can see Joris like, yeah, that's a nice air dribble, but the demo just takes everything away, and then Scrubkilla winds up with the ability to just make challenges in the midfield. Everybody on Dignitas is really just coasting on the challenge game, and Gladiators, you can see it here, when they're double committing, they're trying to increase the pace with how they like to play, but unfortunately, it's just breeding that inconsistency that Dignitas is happy to jump all over.
Well, one of the most notable aspects of this game, at least the series alone, it's been taking Gladiators so much time, and what a back touch, as apparently Jack will find the goal, but this beautiful setup downfield, it's stuff like this that makes Dignitas who they are.
Maxi is just like, bruh, I don't know how you expect me to say that.
What do you want me to do?
How can I stop that? That was pretty.
And to get back to that point of the struggles of Gladiators, it does seem that no matter what they do, they're spending so much boost in time just recovering onto the ball and getting possession that by the time they get upfield, there's really not much to work with.
It's hard. That's the sharpest tool in the shed for Dignitas, is the ability to have the mechanics behind you that no matter what pace you're playing at, you've got the control of the play and the situation and the ball to do really whatever you want. And with people who don't quite have that same ability, this is what happens.
The best attempt on that counterattack from Gladiators was the redirect in the offensive third, but they just couldn't find the target. As Jack will skate it downfield uncontested and win the race against the safety in the back. Backline completely open. It's a 2v1. 5-0 with 12 seconds to go. It's going to be a 2-0 series lead, which just means that you're knocking on series point if you're Dig. And I don't think at this moment in time there's any reason to doubt them going forward.
How can you? I mean, you see Gladiators try and make the adjustment, increasing pace of play, and you got slapped even harder than you did in game 1. I mean, this was a tough one to swallow, as that one gets through Maxiu as well, is getting a little antsy about maybe getting demoed, and they're going to put in 6 in the end of game 2. You can see Maxiu, you can see Scrub Killer coming. He's like, oh boy. It's not an enviable spot to be in here if you're Gladiators. This is tough.
Doggy bag goal for the road. Enjoy it while you can. 2-0 series lead as Dignitas handle their business on Aquadome. And in this moment in time, if you're Gladiators, boy, would you love a tactical timeout, because it has not been working.
Out of all the times where you don't have timeouts in a best of 7, this may be the worst one playing Dignitas here, because you need a minute to figure out how you want to go about this one. Because this is 2 games in a row where the only line that moves significantly, look at the demos from Gladiators. You get 8 demos from Gladiators, 4 from Dignitas, and even with 8 demos, you still allow 14 shots to Dignitas.
To 1 of Gladiators. That is just a stat you're never going to win with. Even if you get 1 open net, 99.9% of the time on every multiverse, you're going to lose against this team. 14-1 is a shot percentage you're probably not going to see too often, but welcome to RLCS. This is an interesting spot to be in. Granted, it's only 1 series, folks. Again, everything can change, anything is possible. But
certainly.
Dignitas very much proving that, again, a lot like Optic, it doesn't really matter what's in front of them, just going to handle what's on their plate. For Gladiators, you have to keep the vibes high for sure, but there needs to be more of a noticeable, visible correction going into game 3.
Yeah, you have to find a way to figure out what you want to do, because that's 2 games in a row. I like the idea, try and get more aggressive. But when all it does is open up extra space, you can't expect that to work going forward either, and you have to try something different.
They're certainly going to have to do so. As off the opening kickoff, it will be Dignitas again. Jorius clearing it from his own back line and finds another open net yet again. Dignitas take advantage of a slip up from Gladiators, and the opening goal goes the way of Dig.
Oh boy. That's another open net there, Spaceman.
It's been a couple.
That's not the first time that's just gone right over the head of everybody. Gladiators. There comes a point when you have to wonder how forced the smile is back on the other side, as you're like, oh, it's not good.
You're happy that it's only the first series in a Swiss format, but I think that the fact that it's been such a lackluster performance, offensively, defensively, I mean, you can only ask for so much, but offensively, there's just been nothing. You're getting 1v2'd by Jorius on the backboard. There's been no counterattacks, no transitions, no clean touches, maybe a rebound potentially. But other than that, now is the time to figure it out.
Now is the time indeed, especially if you want to make something of this series. And the speed, greatest X factor in pretty much any situation. It's really where Dignitas has this one on lock. Change of pace on a dime, and Gladiators just trying to find any way to hold on to the ball. That's all you can really ask at this point.
I mean, Dignitas have this lead. Good redirect off the backboard. No one else around to follow up. Back to the midfield. A bounce pass that goes nowhere. But in those instances, Dignitas are more than happy to play with that 1-goal lead and get very physical. As soon as Gladiators do fight for possession, they're getting bumped by Jorius. They're getting knocked away by Appjack. Dignitas are not letting any possession go away for free.
Ooh, a little miss there. LCT forced to poke that one into the corner. Gladiators once more on the defensive side of their own. Ooh, nice save. And that's just a forced touch, and that's the other problem. It's like you get put in these situations where, yeah, you make a nice play on the ball, but you have to give up all of the possession for it just to stay alive.
Even fighting in goalie spot, as LCT will jump out for the touch, but the last defender back to save the net is constantly getting bumped away. Very clinical for Dig. Great pass, great cut down as well.
Nice.
Maxiu doing a great job of clearing the ball away.
Really great clear, but here's where it really counts. You have to find a way to stay in command of the ball, and double commits in the corner, and you lost it. Now you put the one-on-one back the other way, and maybe the transition's too slow, and Maxiu again just able to get the nose on something.
Double tap off the backboard. Follow up as this one rattles its way around. Still alive for Jorius. He might find a shot from the elbow. He absolutely will, and just can't sneak it through. The angle is there, but the protractor a little bit too wide.
Gotta be careful. Maybe they were trying to pinch that right there if you're Gladiators, just to get some type of distance down on the other side. It is still within 1, so even if this hasn't...
Is it?
No.
Is it?
It is not within 1.
Are you sure about that?
I take that back immediately, in fact. That kick off the corner is just brutal. And apparently Jack able to make the adjustment on the ball, not bouncing off the ceiling, and just lay that one straight into the top right-hand side.
That's a frustrating goal that floats through. You're like, oh, that's in our net.
That's in, I guess. That's tough.
So is that demo. That leads way to Jory's possession. Right back to Joris, maybe down to Jack. It will be the infield passing for a 3-0 lead.
They let this kickoff go back to their own half, and Joris is just figuring, okay, where am I going to go? And Scrub's like, I'm open on the left, and like, okay, I'm going to run straight up the middle, just throw it back, and we'll see what we can do. And Gladiators off grab and boost and resetting off the demo. Not back in time, and just like that. I mean, within, what, 10 seconds? Game 3 looks completely out of reach. I mean, it was within 1, and even if Gladiators were just sitting there trying to figure out a way to get possession, you can score 1 at any time. Anyone can make a misplay or miss a touch or something, and you can get right back into the game. But then you have a slow floater of a ball go over your head in the top right, and you're like, we're down 2. And then the kickoff happens, and you give up a second one. It's like, okay, game 3's chalked. Just like that.
I'm trying to remember because this kind of series is a bit homogenous. It's all coming together. Have we seen Gladiators score yet?
No. Yes, one time.
One time.
53 seconds, game 1, Max Hugh.
All right. Well, at least you have that going for you.
I'm glad I wrote that down.
It's all blending together right now because Dignitas are just, it's tough. For Gladiators, this is certainly a matchup that maybe didn't favor them mechanically, speed of play for sure, and they've tried to make adjustments. They really have. But they are running into the old esports adage of we're playing a team that's clearly better than us, and right now we have no answer. They're getting absolutely dumpstered on.
Yeah. Sometimes you're just better, and there's actually a little wry smile from apparently Jack for once. It's like, yeah, we're winning. This is tough, though. I mean,
this is a confidence win for Dig. Like, they're going to ride this forever.
It's like, if I think Dignitas, if you're thinking, guys, we need to go back to basics here, and like you play a tight series against Gladiators, you might. Oh boy. That's okay, that was essentially the same play that they did on that kickoff out to the side, but this time they did it in the air.
I mean, it's the exact same without the demo. It's just you beat the back line, and 6-0 yet again. We've seen that scoreline before. Could it be 7? You'd think mathematically you have a pretty good average here.
I learned go back to basics too. If I said I'm going to focus on the basics of Rocket League and I want every game 5-1, 6-0, I would never do anything different ever again. I think a confidence win is the right way to put that, Spaceman.
Yep. I mean, clearly they could win this series with mechanics. They could win it with just team play alone. But again, our opening 2 rosters in Optic Gaming and Dignitas have not looked pushed to the limit. Very much in cruise control to start today, which for both those squads is a huge relief mentally, as you wanted them, for the respective fan bases, to come out with that cadence and that composure.
Yeah, certainly any early struggles from those 2 rosters would have been cause for concern.
Sure.
And Gladiators right now, oh, this one, you really do and now they're going to do it the same way, but this kind go up the right side of the pitch. All right, 7-0. Whenever you guys are ready, you can just drive it up the sidewall and air dribble back and forth for 30 seconds. We don't need another one.
Yeah, we could hit skip, go to the next game. It's okay. I think at this point, the message has been sent, but there's time on the clock. There are certainly seconds that exist. The integers are there.
For the sake of the sanctity of the per 5-minute stat category, we have to reach 0-0.
We have to, because Direct will not allow it any other way. And Brazil is possible. Gladiators finally get something, and it is something. It is a goal nonetheless.
Oh, the triple jump, and they just throw themselves at apparently Jack.
They can't block all of us.
Apparently Jack's like, I can't dodge 2 demoers and make a save, guys. It's not fair. That was amazing.
Well, Gladiators has Dig right where they want him.
Yeah.
But this is a game 3 all the way of Dignitas. A 3-0 series lead about to come up on your screen. And with that series point, 1 game away from another sweep here on the B stream.
1 game away, but anything can happen at this point. Even, okay.
Oh.
All right. Off the post.
Who
That's
missed?
Fine.
Who was it?
I bet it was Appjack. He's like, my bad. But either way, that was about as hard of a beatdown as you can see in Rocket League at this stage of the game. Like,
that was a game.
Maybe back in the old day, you'd see like a 10-1 or something. you know, flip side play somebody, but this was, what is this, 14 again? Hey,
5.
this time 5. That's more than 1.
Last time we checked, that is absolutely correct. I mean, you're happy that there is an improvement, but also a little sad that, unfortunately, in this instance, there just hasn't been much.
And again, it was 1-0 up to 2:18 on the clock.
Yeah.
So in 2 minutes, they put on 6 more. It's like, talk about a game absolutely just falling off the rails and just being a complete write-off. It's just like, okay, like even if they're still sitting here and having to play defense and it's really looking tough for them to find possession and move up the pitch, at least they're within 1 and then just be like, nope, never mind. We just lose here.
And I think the interesting thing looking at Dig's face cam, so the majority of that game, outside of a couple of smiles, which certainly existed, it has been quiet. It's been calm. Like, they're just another day in the office. This is day 1 of Wildcard. We know what we have to do. Like, we're not pressuring ourselves right now.
There's at this point, there's no need to. I mean, I'm still stuck on the fact that in game 2, Gladiators have 8 demos, and they only get 1 shot on target.
Yeah.
I am amazed that you can find space that much. I guess that is to some degree context dependent. You know, there is something to be said about where those demos are happening. Like maybe it's just, you know, Dignitas driving at them full speed and they just demo each other in a place that doesn't really matter. But like, how often do you get 8 demos and you don't hold some type of offensive like edge on that game?
I mean, there's always a conversation for a goal that could fall through. LCT finally gives Gladiators a lead, and that is a well-deserved smile.
Napjack just trying to give a little ground. It's a little bit of a weak touch, and LCT applying the pressure. No hesitation, come through, bang it into the top center. Force Dignitas for once to play from behind here. Who knows? Maybe Gladiators hold on to this lead in 4 minutes. Long way to go, but can't fault the start.
I just imagine chat right now. All the Dig fans are like, here it comes, and it's going to crumble. Oh,
here's a
reverse
sweep.
But for Gladiators, a very needed and necessary opening goal. Great shot, better save.
There we go. Now we're getting the big long clears that you're seeing in game 1 where Dignitas had that very deep set rotation, willing to bring the ball down on an air dribble or something, and that's an equalizer. Apparently, Jack, I think Max, you and LCT collided with each other on the opposite end. I'd have to look again. I know they were both over there in that corner, but I don't know if they hit each other, and that kind of caused them to get back a little late.
Great setup by Jorius, but a couple of times in this series, we've seen Dignitas take those challenges off the side wall, and with that free space, we're putting a shot towards the net. Whether you save that's up to you, and so far it has worked out for at least 2 or 3 goals. And yet again, they find the equalizer. Still, a lot of time on Coliseum, but this game is for the series.
Ooh. Like the idea there. LCT knew it was on target, was willing to bet on the demo, and unfortunately, open net miss from Dignitas. Could have had the lead right there. Maybe still can as Max Yu able to get up in front. He's been making a couple of nice stops over on the defensive side of things for Gladiators throughout the series, even if it's ultimately been a fruitless endeavor.
And needs more help. Granted, he's gotten a couple of redirects through the corners, but there hasn't been possession for long. And how many times have we watched this series go forward where there's been a gap in the back line and nobody deep back to watch the cross? It's been open for Dig.
Yeah, and apparently Jack just has his man beat there, and that's just the lack of awareness. You're not sure that you're outpaced by that much. You're thinking, yeah, this is a pretty routine challenge out into the corner. I'll be able to go out here, find a clear up the sidewall, and wait, I don't have possession at all, and now the net's just completely open, and Dignitas is more than happy to say thank you very much.
Well, when a team is down 3-0, it can feel like there's an acquiescence to kind of roll over and say, well, we can only do so much. But in this instance, we've seen them get an opening goal. But after that, that was their best stretch of Rocket League they played in this entire series. It's been all of Dignitas yet again.
Oh, such command from Jorius. Jorius is mad he didn't score that. That's all he cares about. He's like, oh my gosh, I missed it. He wasn't thinking about, yeah, I just outplayed 2 defenders, went over the top, stuck with it, and put it in a scoreable spot. He said he didn't convert.
I mean, again, the team play from Dig, they've kept it simple. We have said that a billion times today. I'm sure we'll say it more this weekend, but when we talked to apparently Jack in his interview about a month ago, he talked about how they had stressed just making the game a little bit easier to understand and not complicating these mechanics, not complicating a lot of their infield passes. They know they can compete with anybody in the world. They know they can be a top team. It was just about getting on the same page, and the communication was a big factor of that.
Communication is actually, I think for a team that's as mechanically skilled as Dignitas, communication might be one of the most important things.
Yeah.
Especially when, you know, this game is a game of how fast can you interpret what's about to happen and can you react? Like, that's something I think that Moist in general has absolutely got down, because they're three incredibly mechanically talented players as well. And they said they focused a lot on communication as well. And Dignitas coming out here, if you're going to sit there and pick one thing to focus on, I think mechanics for all three of you guys is a brilliant option.
It's a great read on the bounce.
Or communication when you're so mechanically skilled is a good option. There we go.
I think looking at a team like Moist who do that so well, a squad that argued up there with Liquid and Falcons is probably the most mechanical team, if not the most in the world. And it's their communication that makes them so successful, how good they are between the numbers and how great they are at making adjustments. It's championship DNA, and Dignitas certainly want a piece of it, but now it's just coming down to finding the right
Now that'd be
combination.
bonkers. Can you imagine Dignitas, this org who's like, I remember when we used to win all the world championships. It's been so long, and they look like mid-tier European team at best through splits 2 and 3, and then they're just like, yep, I'm just gonna come down here and beat everybody down.
Feeling a little bit silly today. I think I want to win this
I think
thing
I'm gonna win this thing.
Great cross,
Oh,
open
it's
net.
open.
And
That's
that
tough.
one is up the middle. Another goal scored.
I mean, this is just Gladiators trying to stretch this one, trying to get back in it. Because obviously, I mean, they're trying to win things. They're trying to get themselves into a position. 2-5, all right, 3 goals down in a minute and a half, a lot to ask, but maybe doable. And they say, let's send all 3 here, because it is a scoreable spot.
Yeah.
But you do have to make the contact on the ball, and unfortunately, Dignitas able to find the nice chips out to the side to get around people, leave the open net back the other way. Oh, I guess it would have been 2-4 at that point. So even more of a reason to try and press that. 2 goals in a minute and a half, yeah. See if you can find a way back right there.
You got nothing to lose now. I mean, just press 3 up at a time, honestly. What do you potentially have to not gain from triple committing? But in this instance, we don't do it often. I think it's fair to say that this series is being wrapped up relatively quickly. I think this series is done.
I think you may be correct, Spaceman. Scribkill is scoring uncontested here out of the corner. Beautiful pass to himself, to be quite honest. That is a gorgeous piece of timing. If you see how that one played out. The skip off the wall to the nice smooth transition up the sidewall with the perfect pop to himself. That is one I wish I could do every time I tried it.
That's one of those routines, like I have an opportunity, I have a look, I'm gonna take it. And Jorius was looking for the reset, wasn't able to find it. Right up the gut again, Jorius coming through the back of the net. Pass, shot, follow-up. It's all Dignitas right now, 30 seconds to kill. It's gonna be a sweep for the second time here on the B stream to start the wild card of the World Championship. Dignitas
now,
handling it.
I have an interesting idea or thought. If you're Dignitas and you want to sit here and work on the basics, and, you know, game 1 I think was definitely the basics, but then you get into games 2 and 3 and you are absolutely crushing Gladiators, do you get a little bit lazy and you're like, yeah, now we're gonna go for those backboard reads and the crazy triple tap, slip reset stuff? Does that detract at all?
I think old Dignitas would have, but after what we heard from apparently Jack and the vibe they had at the London Major, I think they understand that that's only necessary when it needs to happen. They're only going to go for those extra mechanics and those
they've
extra
totally
plays.
done them here, though.
I mean, listen, you're up 6. You're like up 6.
That's my point, though. That's my point.
Oh, you're saying when they have that substantial of a lead, do they start getting
it's like, do you still, does that detract a little bit from the identity of what you're trying to cultivate, where you're just like, it doesn't matter, we're winning?
I mean, yeah, you stick to the game plan, but I think in this instance, given the fact that it's the last game of this series very clearly,